calls alarms. Thanks everyone for joining us here this afternoon, this evening. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and also the newer faces that have been here many years ago and come back. It's great. For those who've travelled a long way, thanks also for making the effort. It means a lot. Yeah, thanks, Greg. It means a lot to the club. One of the tricks, which is the reality of belonging to a club in a small hamlet town on the Otway coast, is a range of supplies and services. And at times that's difficult. It's also really expensive. And so we all owe an enormous debt of gratitude for the generous members who have given their time and considerable skills to provide dinner tonight. So to Beck, Sarah, Sue, Anna, Karen, Melissa, thanks ladies for just a really great story.
And Matt for the pies.
And Matthew for the pies. I should have acknowledged the life members here this evening as well. Thanks for coming along, and also a very special welcome to Paul for coming up from LSV, the president of LSV. Thanks very much, Paul. A couple more thank yous. Also, I'd like to thank Miranda for her commitment to making this event a reality during a really busy summer schedule, and for her committee for assisting, which there's a few on the committee, but it does look like Adam's just being ordered around all over the place. Thanks, Miranda, very much for your effort. The curries are going to remain out. You don't obviously have to finish them, but you're welcome to continue to peck away. Come in. The Colac Secondary College is why we're here, really, and the 20-year reunion. We're getting close to 21. I'm informed. What a really fortunate relationship the Wye River Surf Lifesaving Club's had with the Colac Secondary College. During my research amongst members over the past few weeks, I understood that to be a strong and strengthening ties between the two organisations, and has been punctuated with many memorable moments, colourful tales, I'm sure, that we shared over the next few hours among you all. Fortunately, a former president of the Surf Club, Dave O'Brien, was able to knock together a few words of reflection together for us, and I hope, if you don't mind, we can endure through them because they're really important. Dave sends his apologies and his profound disappointment for not being able to join us here today. I'm sure he'll be around for the 25th when Miranda gets that one wound up. So in David's words, if you bear with me, the connection for the club goes for many years. Past presidents Greg Kelly and David Burke were original Colac groups that started with a boat crew. Michael Brand's connection goes back to the Jeff Kennett years. The state Liberal government wanted to bring back army cadets and similar programs, and Michael researched the available funding and found that lifesaving was included as part of that. And that program was in turn then supported by the Bracks government. The problem of Colac not having a beach was solved due to the amalgamation of various councils, which included coastal towns of Lorne, Wye River, Kennett and Apollo Bay. Eventually Kennett and Wye were chosen by Michael, and due to the availability and the school, and due to the availability of the bunkhouse, Wye was it. So we were and continue to be at a really great advantage as a club. As an aside, from the current committee's point of view, we couldn't imagine there ever being a better use for the clubhouse than to house young adults from Colac as they test and develop their surf, life and social skills that week in each November, which is an outstanding use of our facility. Wye River became the final destination due to passion shown by its committee at the time. This was led by Don Wilson. We have Polly here this evening. And the dedication of the various chief instructors during the early days, which included Andrea Bavanti, Anna Wilson, Sally Agnew and Erin Shannon. First residential bronze squad occurred toward the end of 1998. Full bus arrived at the bunkhouse. Full bus arrived at the bunkhouse with students charged with enthusiasm. However, the bunkhouse at the time had already had two tenants, squatters or vermin as they were perhaps described. and that one of those was the writer of this piece, David O'Brien, and our barman Adam Boynton, for the sake of the exercise, just there in the stripes, in the jail stripes. And they were sitting on the couch watching a video, and where's my young kids? So this video is just reel to reel. And it was The Empire Strikes Back, which you might be familiar with. And they only had one tape back then and no TV reception. Suddenly they found themselves surrounded by students from Colac. At 18 years old, they immediately declared themselves as instructors and spent the next week or so entertaining their new guests, who were nice enough to supply them with food. So it became a November ritual, training Colac and bronze squads. How many years did you do that for, Adam? A number of years, yeah. And the wider club embraced the Colac squad. Everyone was supportive, and the program probably stopped the club going down a similar path or not growing like Kennett River, which seems to be a little smaller. As we went on, these guys found themselves on patrols, and we'd have very competent country kids who had fixed motors and complete just about any task around the club, a tradition that fortunately continues at the club today. The program has had its challenges. Funding's always been an ongoing issue, and a lot of work and grants and convincing various principals of the worth of the program. Most presidents of the club over the years have had to go into bat for the program in one way or another, and we owe them a debt of gratitude. A random alumni of the program, Tristan Reid, who's now a member of Lawn, told David the other day that the program changed his life and helped him meet his wife. And Tristan won our club championships. Lisa Knight met her future husband, James Agnew, who is also a member from Melbourne, through the program. And in terms of the club, from David's memory, the first 4 students, actually I picked this up from the Colac article, perhaps Michael, that you dropped in there. Alistair Gower, Michael Jones, Ryan Melville, Adam McNamara were some of the first 4. Lisa Capsel's here, a life member and a former club champion. Lisa Knight Agnew is a former chief instructor. Nick Murray is a former chief instructor. John Poulton's a former IRB captain. Joel Craddock's here is a former committee member and lifeguard, current lifeguard. Belinda Schultz is a vice club captain. Alex Stoddard was chief instructor and initiator of the Colac Tin Rattle. Ryan Towers is here, a former club captain and lifeguard. Ollie Butler, current club captain and lifeguard. Ben Wilson, current chief instructor and lifeguard. Alec McGeary has been a lifeguard. Countless other patrol captains, all form part of the alumni that is from those Colac camps. Unbelievable. Over 400 Colac students, which included some Trinity College brothers and sisters and friends who just want to be on the fun at the beach, have passed through the program, over 400. The fact that Chief Instructor's position has been dominated by Colac alumni here at White River speaks volumes about the respect the kids have had for the program. The Colac crew pretty much drive our water safety program still today, largely because they are in the bunkhouse each year. The performance, the generosity, enormous sacrifice of water safety drew enormous praise from the leader of the opposition, Bill Shorten, just this season, while his daughter benefited from their protection during the NIPA program. From all accounts, she certainly needed it, the poor thing. She's learning her craft, like all of us, you know. Sorry, everyone. There's a cheap shot. Right.
It's on film.
Stop digging.
Another highlight for David, he went down to speak to Group 1 during November when he was president. Walked in through the boys' side of the bunk room and noticed that most of the boys had open books and they'd been reading whilst on the Colac Bronze Camp. One of the books actually was Chopper Read, which is burned in David's memory. The group was reading for pleasure, not because they had to or were made to. That's the thing we sometimes forget about Michael's tuition, is he's not a PE teacher, he's an English teacher. And that showed, and there was always something else going on in his teaching. Michael's always encouraged kids at risk to join. David always suspected that the ability to swim was optional. And it came from it, and some came from very disadvantaged backgrounds. David had a member on his patrol whose mother died from a drug overdose during his membership at our club. I'm sure there are many other stories, David says, that we don't know about in that regard. Michael manufactured money to pay for fees for these kids who couldn't afford them. And for many years after they had finished school and they were at university, which made the difference for these kids, kept them engaged, kept them connected. We haven't really touched on people saved on the beach throughout this time by the Colac members because of course this type of education is rare. It isn't really at all about surf lifesaving. So congratulations to all that have contributed, to all of you from the Colac Secondary College for remaining committed to the program. If we can now all propose a toast to the continued success of the Colac Bronze Camp. So, to the Colac Bronze Camp.
Colac Bronze Camp. Colac Bronze Camp.